But now let's turn to China's economy and the latest data for November. The numbers paint a mixed picture. Exports are showing signs of a rebound while consumer spending remains relatively subdued. At the same time, international institutions are raising their growth forecasts as Beijing rolls out more targeted stimulus measures. To help us make sense of these signals, we are joined by Ning Zhang, senior China economist at UBS, and Zhou Mi, senior research fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. And Zhou Mi, I'll start with you. The latest data, if you look at them, industrial output up 4.8%, for example, high-tech manufacturing surging 9.2%. However, retail sales grew only 1.3% in November, and overall fixed asset investment fell actually 2.6% year to date. How do you reconcile those, some numbers are very positive, some others probably not that positive, even negative ones?
Well, it's true that for any economy that is not balanced, I mean, for most of this time, about the input and the output, we have some time to change from the input to the output. So for the consumption, I have to say that China's economy are not so strongly supported by the consumption in the previous times. So that's the reason why we are going to encourage the consumption. Well, I have to say that for just the 1 month's data, it's not just the overall picture of China's status right now. And there are so many other problems, like for some consideration of the base data and also the comparison between the different terms. So actually, in my understanding, that we are saying that the trend is is getting stronger in the coming months. We are saying more trend of the momentum are going together. As because consumption, maybe some of this consumption has been happened for the past several months, and we are seeing that we are using several different kind of policies to improve this kind of trend. Well, at last, I need to say that when we're trying to look at the data, we have to try to find some of the change, because China's economy is a reconstruction very quickly. We are using a different kind of technology to improve that element of innovation, which is also a reason why we are seeing the investment are not going too fast compared with the last year.
Mr. Ning Zhang, welcome to the show. We are talking about these mixed numbers. So in general, how do you characterize the economy of China? Is the economy stabilizing, or is the recovery still uneven or fragile even?
We can see on 2 or 3 fronts. The first one, the latest growth momentum actually have been weakening in the past several months, including retail sales, FAI, and also housing activities. But the exports has stayed quite strong in the past several months. That's, again, a very notable divergence between the external demand versus domestic activities. So that's first of all. The other one is that we also saw very notable differences between the new economy sectors versus the traditional economy sectors. That's why innovation, the tech, pharmaceutical, and robotics, so on and so forth, have been growing very strongly. But the housing downturn and traditional kind of old economies, like traditional consumption sectors, are still under pressure. So that's kind of different angles for the economy. But for the GDP growth as a whole, you can see clearly, given the year-to-date resilience of the GDP growth in the past several quarters, we can see the around 5% growth target can be largely achieved. So that's still deemed as a largely steady growth as a whole, but clearly latest growth momentum has been weakening.
Let's, Zhou Mi, back to you here. The government has introduced multiple policies such as large-scale equipment renewal and consumer goods trade-in policies. But data shows equipment and tool investment grew more than 12%, and sales of appliances, cultural office goods, and communications equipment saw robust double-digit growth. Are these policies enough to lift overall consumer confidence, or are you expecting, say, more policies to incentivize consumers? If you look at the new year, for example, 2026, or even the next 5 years, obviously the government has been making it very clear that the priority for the economy is domestic consumption here.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I agree with you.
Zhou Mi, please. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that when we're talking about the consumption, I think the Chinese government put it in the emphasis of development. So that's the reason why we are seeing so many policies. As you just mentioned that, in the coming year, I would say that there will be more policies, not just for the people to buy the equipment or some of these home appliances. I think that is mainly on the coordination of the different ministries, like the Ministry of Commerce and also the People's Bank of China and also other related industries. I think that the cooperation between the different administration will help to facilitate the strength of the consumption-based policies. But the second, I think it's very clear that Chinese government is trying to encourage the consumers not just consume more products, but also on the services. So we are trying to give there more priorities for the different governments, like in Beijing, local governments, to help to implement some of the policies to encourage the consumption on the services. So it's unlikely that we are just trying to put all the monies just for the repeatedly buy more equipment like the TVs and also the e-bikes. We have to create some new space. That is what we are going to do. So for consumption, I think it's only just a part of China. We are also trying to connect the domestic market with the foreign market, which is a very important way for us to buy more things, not only from China, but also from our trading partners in the world.
Alan, you talked about, you've been to the rest of the country, frequently. What's your observation in terms of the health of the economy, in terms of the, future prospect of the economy?
Well, in general, I'm in China almost every other week because we have many projects now going on in China. And from what I can see is that, of course, the number one problem in China, which is the same everywhere else in the world, is really the real estate market, the property market. And, when real estate goes down, when interest rates go up and real estate goes down and prices go down, people lose confidence in their investment and they withdraw really from spending too much. As we know, the property market, real estate market has been it's been down for about over 3 years now, and the government's tried different policies in order to get the property market back on track. I still think it might take another year and a half, maybe 2 years for people to gain confidence, because once the property market goes up, and also the good thing is the stock market has really started to appreciate, and China was a place that was uninvestable before, according to the foreign investors, but suddenly they're all rushing in now. And so I've seen this happen many, many times in my life, and this is the start of the comeback. The good news is, Chinese people, the middle class, they're sitting with $22 trillion in the bank. No other country in the world can boast that, because Chinese are basically savers. And the government now is trying to switch to a domestic economy because they have they have a 1.4 billion population of people with money who really can buy products. And literally, I see a change going on in China now. Even in the old days, the shops were busy with foreign imports and big brand names from Europe, and their parents were buying that. Today, there's young designers that have come out with new clothes, new styles, and all the young people are going around. They're great, and they became big supporters. And of course, online shopping is very, very big in China. So I believe that you're going through a regeneration now that I don't think this will last too long that things are slow in China, but the exports, as we saw in November, from January to November, were record, and it was mostly without shipping to the United States, or very little was shipped to the United States, and they've got all new countries, BRICS countries, for instance, that are really trading a lot with them. The African countries, the market, the world is a big place, and China's discovered it, and so I believe that in general, it's not as bad as the economists have made it out to be, but there is money, and it'll take a little longer for the property market to get back. This happened in the U.S. in the 80s, and I remember it took 4 or 5 years for U.S. to start to recover, but the difference is the people have money in China, and so I don't feel that it's as bad as kind of that you read in the paper. And also, robotics is huge in China now. It's every place in every factory has been ordered to really go into robotics. The good thing about robots, they can work 24 hours a day, and
Mr.
you don't have to pay them a salary. So the cost of
Mr. Zhang, if you look at the numbers, again, November consumer price index rose 0.7% to 1.2%, although it's still below 2% of the target, but it's still indicating, of course, low inflation. Meanwhile, PPI fell 2.2%, although the decline has narrowed. Look ahead, is China more at risk of slipping back into deflation, or could inflation start to build if demand picks up?
Sure. The bottom line here is that we're still seeing lingering deflation pressure for now and even for the coming several quarters. Good news here is that CPI may rebound slightly next year, from year-to-date 0% to next year possibly 0.4%. PPI so far has been super weak, negative 2.5, 2.6. And next year, hopefully, we can see a narrower decline of PPI. So that's a bad and good at the same time. But clearly, we're still seeing the challenges from the deflation side.
We have to stop there. With that, we are coming to the end for today's show. Many thanks to our guests. I'm Xu Qinduo. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.